Hi, my name is Gabrielle Baumgartner, and I'm your student's teacher for independent study. I'm so excited to have your students in this class. This means the world to me that they chose me to be their teacher for independent study, and I'm really excited to cheer them on with everything that they do. In this class, it is a very special class because they are usually one of one in their class, and they are placed within another one of my classes. And there's kind of two different directions that this class can go. They can either be actively helping with teaching other students in the class and making sure that kids are staying on task, making demos, things like that, helping along with showing students other ways of doing things, and that's amazing. Or they can be investigating their own art skills and making their own projects. So what we would say there is, like, if you're investigating your own art skills and doing your own projects, that would be traditional, and then the other would be considered non-traditional. Either way, this is a tier 3 class. So to get to this class, that means that they have done multiple other art classes with me, and they have kind of earned their spot to be here, which is great. With this as well, what I'm showing you right now is the Canvas page. And so the Canvas page, starting with the syllabus, you can see that it has my email address as well as 2 different room numbers because I do have independent studies in each of my rooms. And so if you ever need to reach out to me, or if your student ever needs to find me, they can always email me, or I'm in the same hallway. These rooms are in the same hallway. This class is primarily project-based, so while I do require other things of both traditional and non-traditional independent studies, the main part of their goal is going to be that check-in that they turn in. I am going to navigate away from this just to kind of show you what that would look like, and then we can come back to the syllabus. So each week they're going to make an agenda. If you're a traditional student, the agenda is going to be at the start of the week, due on Monday, and you're going to tell me what you're going to be working on during that week. I conference with a student about once a week, but usually a little bit more than that, to make sure that they're doing what they are wanting to do. If they have any questions, if they need feedback, if I can point them in the direction of a different resource or anything like that. That's what a traditional student would be planning for in that first week. Whereas a non-traditional student, I make their agenda, and then they write out everything that they did to help students that week. So each individual day, writing that out. And that's a way for us to both keep track of how much that they do during a week, and also to show them how much that they've grown in a way that they should be proud of, because helping other students, helping their peers, is really cool that they're willing to do that. I'm going to go back to the syllabus. Along with those week to week things that are going to be in there, they of course can bring their own sketchbooks, they can bring their own materials. If they're in my digital lab, they have their own computer in the digital lab. Some of them use iPads, so it varies in terms of course materials, but that's the thing that we work out project to project. For the most part, the students are responsible though for bringing in whatever they need for that day. Tardy and absence policy is going to be the same as it is for the whole entire school. And then for category weights as well as late work, I'm not taking off any late points. I understand that with this class having kind of 2 different versions that it can go, that it can be a little bit tricky at times. I do my best to just remind students each week what is due that week and when we're going to have conferences and stuff, so people are prepared. In general, about 70% are going to be those check-ins, and then those week-to-week things that I just showed you would be the other 30%. If something is late, I usually am just like, hey, so-and-so, I didn't get this thing. And then they're usually on it because they're in these upper level classes, and they get that turned in. And it's, if I have to put a 0 in until it's in, but once it is turned in, it's no big deal. I just take away the 0 and grade it as if it was never late. For other things that would be going along in here, all of the rest of this is standard to my other classes, and they should be familiar with this, having had me multiple times. So the other assignment that they would be doing is those check-ins. So on the actual check-in itself, there is not a ton of information there, very purposefully, because I want to leave this pretty open for the students. With it being independent study, the intent is that they are able to stretch it to what they would like it to be. And I grade what the student turns in according to 2 ways. The traditional way is what I have linked here, and that's that AP rubric. This AP rubric is going to be according to the way that the AP classes would do it. Essentially, they have to turn in some form of writing that goes along with their project itself. The project itself and any kind of like process that they can show me also helps. So that can be sketches, that can be looking through research, and all of this would have been things that they've previously practiced with me in other courses. The only difference is that it would be turned in this way. Also, with this traditional style of getting things turned in, students may also choose to do like studies, so they can turn in like groups of studies, and that would still count as one of these checkpoints. So it's not really like necessarily has to be a true project. Whereas if you're in the non-traditional version of this, the non-traditional version, I have it written out in a slightly different manner. So I'm going to get to that for you guys. And here it is. So this is like 3 different parts. So since they're not necessarily turning in like a set project where they've done their own investigation every time as a non-traditional independent study, what they would be doing instead would be they score themselves on their peer facilitating rubric. So their peers are in the classroom and they're helping them out. So they're assessing how well did they actually assess, or how well did they actually help their peers, and they turn that in. Whatever they get on this, I use this math equation to get their amount of points for that section. The next thing that they are going to do is they're going to turn in their demo practices. So for each unit, they will do some sort of demo, even if it's not like a fully finished thing, and that gets turned in. That's usually what they are also showing in class. So any of the projects that we do, I give the student an opportunity to show how they handled it. And I do think that hearing from more than just me, but hearing from their peer on how they handled a project is so helpful for these students. And then the last part is their reflection, and they just have to answer these 3 questions. So looking at this, you've got what did you do to help, or what did you help with during this project, and how did you help? So just reiterating what that was. Did this help you relearn or grow your abilities? Because with this being an upper level class, our goal is not just that they're helping the other people, but they're also gaining their own confidence in these areas. And then the last thing there, what do you think would help the students for next time, and what would you do differently? So this is really for me to know, like from their experience doing this again, what was the most helpful? Did they see that the kids learned? How could I do things better? What could we do to make this a better project for everybody involved? And then, yeah, that's basically the class, those 2 assignments. You've got your week to week, and then you've got your check-ins. Other than that, the agenda is as so. So you'll notice I have traditional and non-traditional listed. I also have the due dates in different spots, and that's like, they know if they're traditional or non-traditional, what that would mean. I also have spots on here where I'm going to, for example, like discuss check-ins and stuff like that, so that way everybody's on the same page. If you do have any questions or anything like that, you're welcome to email me, like I said at the beginning. In general, I feel like I always love having independent study students, because I think that it allows everybody else in the room to get to appreciate another way of doing art other than just having a teacher up there telling them like which steps to follow. So thank you for letting your kids take a class like this, because I think it is so cool and helpful for them. If you need anything, just let me know. Thanks.